Hello folks and welcome back to Shocktober. You thought we'd forgotten, but we just had no internet for a while because we moved house. This is the first episode from our brand new house.
I know.
I am Jacob Sherwood. I am a writer, actor and YouTuber.
Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm a writer and director.
And today we are doing the classic Hitchcock suspense thriller Psycho. As always, this is an audio commentary, not a video. So if you wish to sync it up with your own copy of Psycho, you can do so in 3, 2, 1, play. That's really weird with the scan lines on, isn't it? The Paramount logo.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear. You probably kind of hear the music a little bit there. I'm just going to turn it down a smidge, just so we don't get a copyright notice on it. Because obviously the music for this film is iconic as all heck.
Yes, because it is Hitchcock.
Not this theme, but one of the later ones. The kind of sort of meandering one. I'll sort of point it out when it comes up. I don't know what the name of the theme is. It was sampled in this part of the song, and they used it a couple of times. It was sampled in the Busta Rhymes song "Give Me Some More."
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is a great, like, it's a stupid song, but it's a great sort of song for like parties. So this obviously is one of the most important films in the history of horror and suspense and all those kind of genres. It's often, I wouldn't really call it a horror film as such, but it is scary.
I mean, it's from the master of suspense.
One of the many Norma Bates is one of the many characters who's based in part by Ed Gein. I think it was the first cinematic kind of interpretation of that character.
Yeah. Obviously,
it's based on the novel Psycho, but different filmmakers have tackled that sort of character in different ways. Of course, he also influenced Buffalo Bill, Leatherface, probably a whole bunch of other serial killers. Now, can you describe the first time you saw this movie?
When I first saw it, my mum and dad are really big into Hitchcock, so I saw it when I was probably about 10. And I was kind of blown away by it. Absolutely loved it. Really, really creeped me out though.
It's got a great atmosphere, as Hitchcock's films often do.
Yeah.
Particularly his black and white works. Like, I mean, I've mentioned Strangers on a Train before on the show. It's a film I love. I slightly prefer Psycho, but it's a different genre. But you know, I think his black and white films particularly stand out for me.
I'm just trying to think what other ones. Well, not so much. It's not black and white, but one I really like, which I think is quite underrated, is Marnie. I really like Marnie. It's a good film.
I'm trying to remember what his first sound film was called, because it was a silent film and he remade it in sound, and I can't remember what it was called because I watched it back in college. It was such a long time ago.
I can't think.
So straight away we kind of established this character, don't we? Somebody who's kind of a bit, yeah, she's kind of a bit of a lady of loose morals, you know. She took her lunch break to go and have sex with somebody, you know. So straight away we're setting her up like, oh, she's up to something. And of course everybody knows by now the big secret of the movie is that it's not about her, but it's very clever the way they do it.
It is.
Now, something Hitchcock apparently didn't want to let people in once after a certain point in the movie. They used to just let people in, like if they showed up late. I think it was like after like 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. Hitchcock was like, oh, nobody's allowed in after that point in the movie. Oh. I think it's actually after her scene of being murdered in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably that makes a lot of sense. Just because, I mean, it's the kind of the pinnacle part of the film that everyone remembers. It'd
be kind of like when they first released Dusk Till Dawn before it was well known that it was about vampires. If that it probably administered the rule nobody gets in once they get to Mexico. Like, we're not allowing any more people into the theatre because they're going to be confused and think they walked into the wrong movie.
It's like a kind of Willy Wonka situation. Nobody goes in, nobody ever comes out. Well, don't know if any of the viewers or listeners listening.
Fucking 10 out of 10 commentary. Any of the listeners listening? I should point out she had a very early shift at work.
I did.
You were. What time did you get up this morning for work?
6.
Yeah.
I was at work. I had to.
We've both done a day's work, so.
Yeah. Anyway, that Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mum.
Excuse me.
And she kind of well, I mean, she came from. I mean, that was Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. So, like, very very famous actors as parents. Yeah. You know.
Do you think that? I mean, it's weird that Jamie Lee Curtis looks like a man. Because she's got 3 boys' names as a full name.
She does.
It's Jamie, Lee, and Curtis.
The thing is, she definitely got her looks from her dad.
Yeah, I think some of obviously her androgynous look with the short hair and everything, but I think some of the rumours about her being a hermaphrodite that were floating around in the 80s and 90s probably came from the fact her name was fucking Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, it's very true.
But we ain't talking about no Jamie Lee Curtis, brethren. It's time for Psycho.
Yep. Psycho.
I'm just sitting here like with bated breath, waiting for Anthony Perkins to show up and be amazing.
Yes, because he is fantastic.
Is anyone that's seen? I know you haven't, because we were on about it the other day. But has anyone that listening to this seen Bates Motel? If you haven't, it's crap. Just that's all I wanted to say. It stars that kid who used to be in everything.
Yeah,
from Finding Neverland
and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I'm sure he's in a bunch of stuff. I think he was in the Spiderwick Chronicles as well.
Yeah, there's Freddie Highmore. I think that's his name. Yeah, Freddie Highmore. Yeah, he used to be in absolutely everything, didn't he? Damn it, he's a year older than I am.
Is that the Hitchcock cameo there at the window that's just been on?
Yes, I think that's right.
Because obviously Hitchcock has little cameos. Against Jones on the Train, it's really obvious he's loading a cello either into or out of the train. I don't recall.
And the North by Northwest one is like in the opening sequence, in the opening credits sequence, he's getting on a bus.
It's always in like the first 10 minutes, isn't it? The Hitchcock cameo, so people don't spend the whole movie looking for it if they miss it.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think the birds as well when he's walking out the bird shop as well at the beginning.
Well, yeah, you can see his face in that one. That's really clear. I really like, by the way, trailers for Hitchcock movies. Hitchcock had these really cool movie trailers, and people, I don't know if everyone's seen them, but he would just talk about the movie rather than showing clips. He would walk around the set.
I've seen that one for Psycho.
Because he did one for this, he did one for The Birds as well, where he described it as his most frightening motion picture. And I disagree. I think this is scarier. But yeah, he just took you around like the Bates Motel, and just it was really like cold and creepy.
Yeah, I remember that.
It made you really want to see the movie.
It's a nice way of doing it, like, because it doesn't show the film, because that's what trailers do nowadays. I think a lot of them, especially action movie trailers or anything with a big third act, they always spoil some of it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. One that I remember, now it wasn't a great movie, but one that I remember was going into Terminator Salvation, knowing that Sam Worthington was a robot because of the trailer. Now, granted, you do see him die at the beginning of the movie, so you can probably piece it together anyway. But you know, it'd be kind of like if in the Sixth Sense trailer they showed that he was dead. Again, you can figure it out yourself in the first 10 minutes of the movie, but the point is, it still spoils it. You know. I'm trying to think of trailers now that spoiled the movie. Which is while we're waiting for things to talk about. I mean, you can talk a lot about Psycho. Obviously, it is a beautifully shot film. I mean, we say that a lot on this show, I think, on this podcast, but we tend to watch gorgeously looking movies.
We do.
Gorgeous looking movies, excuse me. I meant to say gorgeously photographed, and I went to looking and ended up with a total fucking word mess there.
Yeah. Less
of a word salad, more like a word guacamole. I'm eating guacamole right now, what can I say?
And it's amazing. It's
so good. Cucumber and guacamole is amazing. And by the way, like freshly chopped peppers and sour cream is also amazing.
And healthy.
That guy's like reminds me of Jack Nantz, the guy who's just been on.
Yes.
You can imagine him doing that. I'm dying of thirst to read. And like winking. Like you really imagine that, can't you?
There's a fish in the percolator.
Fellas, don't drink that coffee. You can imagine, like I remember, like hearing about how he died, and it was like an unresolved homicide. You can imagine Jack Nance saying that, can't you? It was an unresolved homicide. So we're a bit excited because, spoilers, we're going to do a film with Jack Nantz today as well.
Yes.
In it, so like we're excited about doing that.
Yes, very much so.
That's can't you like look at the face?
Yes. Like him, like his character in Blue Velvet.
Yes.
As well.
Oh, I absolutely love Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
I think Blue Velvet was the movie like I'm not no because we can talk about that when we're doing the film that actually has him in it. So,
Yes.
No, I'm gonna stop.
Right, let's go.
He is like him though, isn't he?
He is very much like
But
him.
it's really like because they really make you think that Janet Leigh is the person you're going to be following through this movie.
Yeah.
You know.
It's kind of similar.
Like it's going to be one of those movies where like she's being hunted by the psychopath, and you know, and it's like no, they don't take it there. They take it somewhere very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, this is a bit ever so slightly different. But when, say, like in the movie Scream, you think that the actress, well, you think that Drew Barrymore is the person you're going to see. And she dies within the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Well, Scream, of course, being a sort of a fond...
you know, homage.
Yeah, sort of a semi-parody.
Yeah.
A very self-aware, very meta kind of film about horror movies. I imagine that was...
Probably.
There's no coincidence. I should imagine that was very influenced by Psycho, that choice to open the movie with a really famous actress getting murdered.
Yeah. Very, yeah, definitely. I really like his choice to shoot this in black and white.
Yeah.
Considering it was 1960, I mean, there was obviously colour movies before that. It wasn't as if it was...
Peeping Tom came out the year before this, which I want to talk about, by the way, at some point. But carry on your point about the black and white.
It's nice, as the black and white's more of a stylistic choice as opposed to...
Yeah. Like The Haunting. Like way back in the 3rd of October when we did The Haunting.
That was 1963, so...
Yeah. You know, it's the stark contrast of black and white that really looks great.
I don't think I could imagine this film being in colour, to be honest.
I certainly can't imagine it being in colour and starring Vince Vaughn.
Oh god,
that's something I have trouble with.
That was something that I did by mistake when I bought Psycho. I was in HMV and they grouped them so close together, and I picked Psycho.
That was the most Scottish thing I've ever heard in my life. They grip them close together. It's bad enough that you said H. The H in H is silent.
HMB.
Again, you said it.
HMB.
There we go.
HMB.
Anyway, you were saying in HMV that they grip them together. Yeah, go on.
And I picked up Psycho.
Look at the intensity on the face there.
Yeah.
And like the focus. It's so good. It's such a well-made film. Look at it.
I think it was Gus Van Sant that did
Gus Van Sant, who is actually a really good filmmaker.
Yeah, Gus Van Sant's version of Psycho by mistake was not happy. I ended up...
It's a completely pointless film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I believe it was made, now I could be talking completely out of my arse, so do look it up if you give a shit, but I believe it was made so the studio could retain the rights to the property.
I will have a wee look.
The same reason that Hellraiser Revelations was made, you know, it's never a good reason to make a movie.
It was around the same time though as like the Shining TV movie and the Carrie TV movie. So maybe it was just because...
People really like the Shining TV like miniseries, and I have no idea why. It's really bad.
I don't like it. Psycho...
This particular version of the music. That's the one they use in Give Me Some More. I fucking love that song. I'm so unapologetic about it.
It's a good song.
Big and dumb and loud and it's great. That chorus is just like...
This was it. When asked why he did a shot-for-shot, full-colour remake of Psycho, Gus Van Sant replied, so no one else would have to.
That is the most like pretentious non-answer you could possibly give to that question.
But just kind of thing that reminds me of that scene in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back with Gus Van Sant just counting all the money.
It's great. It's great.
Just like, it's like, guys, look, I'm counting.
Did Gus Van Sant do Good Will Hunting?
He did.
I thought so. Because I know, when I say I hope, no, I'm pretty sure he did My Own Private Idaho, which is a film I fucking love. But I'm on the fence, but I'm quite certain it was Gus Van Sant.
Have a wee look.
Oh, by the way, guys, it's just out of boredom. In the comments, write your favourite Alfred Hitchcock movie and your favourite Gus Van Sant movie.
Yep, that sounds like a plan. That's good.
And have you ever seen Anthony Perkins in anything but Psycho? If so, what was it? Was he any good?
Yeah, he did do My Own Private Idaho. And he did.
That's a fucking masterpiece.
Bowie the Video Collection. Good Will Hunting, Psycho, Finding Forrester. I have not seen that. He's worked with some good
Milk.
musicians.
Milk is a really good film as well.
Yeah, Sean Penn. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I remember seeing it.
Just remembering Kevin Smith talking about you just mentioning Sean Penn. Okay, we will get back to Psycho eventually. Don't worry. This shot, by the way, was completely stolen in this terrible video game, this terrible Flash game, Ambition, I think it's called. That shot of the cop, like they use it. The games are built around negotiation. You have to negotiate your way around situations, and it's fucking total Kenza. But that shot with the cop is completely stolen in those games. I mean, this influences everything. Not everything influenced by art is going to be good. What the hell was I on about?
You were talking. We stopped.
Sean Penn.
That was it.
And Kevin Smith was saying like obviously kind of support the punchline, but Kevin Smith was talking about working with John Peters, who's an absolute madman, on the Superman movie that never got made. And he's just like you know, so I was talking about who are you thinking for Superman? And John's like, if I had to cast it right now, Sean Penn. I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah. Have you seen him in? I can't remember the name of the film. I'm talking about. He's got the eyes of a fucking caged animal. Right. What does that have to do with Superman?
I just figured out what another film I've seen Anthony Perkins in.
What's that?
Murder on the Orient Express, and the TV movie from 1978 of Les Miserables.
Fair play. Are they any good? He
was in Javert. He was Javert in that. And yeah, Les Miserables, the TV movie's good.
A lot of these,
so is Murder on the Orient Express.
A lot of these icons, like Anthony Perkins, and we talked about this in our Nightmare on Elm Street commentary. Yeah. They do become known for one role.
Yes, they do. And
they are brilliant actors, a lot of them.
That's the thing, that Janet Leigh has been in lots and lots of other things, but she's actually forever going to be known as.
Well, she was already a big star, wasn't she?
Yeah,
that's kind of the point we talked about earlier. The point of her casting.
She was already in Touch of Evil, and like a couple of years before that, and she was and then she was also starred alongside her daughter in The Fog. 20 years after this. But yeah.
What, the John Carpenter version?
Yeah, the John Carpenter one.
I've not actually seen the John Carpenter version.
No?
Yeah.
Have you seen the remake?
Yes, well, I've seen 20 minutes of the remake, and then because I didn't want to pour Clorox into my own eyes, I decided to just turn it off.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you got a sniff, maybe don't do it right at the microphone.
Yeah, no. I'm still sort of recovering from a cold.
Everybody is. It's lingered forever, this like winter cold.
I also work in the fresh food section of a supermarket where I have to go in and out of the freezer.
I was just going to say, if the fresh food's giving you a cold, maybe you shouldn't be serving that to the fucking customers.
No, it's just working in the freezer, it just makes your nose run all the time. I don't go about sneezing on customers.
Now, obviously, you mentioned the first time we saw this. I actually forgot to mention the first time I saw this film. I was quite young. I was perhaps 10 years old.
Yeah, about the same age as me then.
I watched it on home video at my granddad's house. My granddad sadly passed away when I was 14. We had a really good relationship. He lived with me for a couple of years. And we watched a lot of movies together. He introduced me to a lot of cool movies. And me, him, and I think my mum watched Psycho together. And even at that age, it's such a well-made film that even to a 10-year-old, in spite of the fact it's black and white and not that much happens for the first portion of the film, it held my interest the whole way through, I have to say. Now, I'm sure people at home remember being 10. When you're that age, you know, you want to watch movies like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park's a great movie, but you want to watch films with lots of things happening. And yet, this held the attention of a 10-year-old boy. And girl, in your case.
To be fair, going on from that, we're just very into movies in general. So that's probably just a thing that would happen to us when we were 10 anyway.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I know a guy at my work who watches heaps and heaps of movies, but will not watch any black and white films. You will watch them recolorized, but you won't watch any black and white films.
Colorized films.
He's like,
yeah, Orson Welles talking about who was it who used to do the colorization? Howard something.
Howard Hawks?
No, it wasn't Howard Hawks. It was somebody shit. Was it like Ted Turner or somebody like that? Maybe it's Ted Turner. I don't know. But anyway, he wanted to do Citizen Kane. And Orson Welles, being the kind of guy Orson Welles was, he was like, keep that imbecile and his fucking Crayolas away from my movie.
Best idea.
I heard the stupidest reason ever when I was at college. And again, I want to say this is before, to Americans listening. College and university are different things over here. College is before university. So I went to community college and then university where the actual smart people were. But community college, there was a lot of dumbasses, you know. And one person's reasoning for never watching black and white films, I swear to fucking God, was because you can never tell when it's daytime or night.
Oh, for God's sake, seriously. That, I mean, you can tell right there that that's during the day. And it was with the sky.
That's nighttime. Oh, damn, he had a point. Fucking idiot. You hear some dumb shit, don't you? Alright, another one. What's the stupidest thing you ever heard in the classroom? Put that shit in the comments. I've got it beat. The stupidest thing, actually...
is Ted Turner.
Ted Turner. I don't know why I went with Howard, but yeah, Ted Turner. Stupidest thing I ever heard in the classroom was not even that. Okay. It was... This was in year 9. Uh-huh. This was at a grammar school, I point out. So it's supposed to represent, I believe, the top 7 or top 5% of the country's youth. So this is that stupid the people of Britain are, right? Okay. So, yeah, grammar school, year 9. This kid, swear to God, he speaks like this as well. If the sun is a star, why does it come out in the daytime? I'm just like, immediately just like, die. Like, how have you not drowned in the shower? You fucking idiot.
I'm trying to think. I remember something that this girl said in class when I was in the equivalent of year 10. Yeah. And I'm trying to think what it is. It'll come to me.
So you remember it, but you don't know what it is.
I know what it is. I know what it is because I remember because she said lots of stupid shit. She also had this weird tooth that was like smaller than all other teeth. Okay.
I ain't going to talk about nobody's teeth. Right? But I got a broken one at the front.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, the actual tooth was like, that was like, really, really
nobody at home can see that.
I know. Anyway.
Let's talk about Psycho. Somebody had a moan in the comments on Poltergeist, being like, shouldn't have called this, but and I imagine he speaks like this because he's someone who disagrees with me, so therefore they all speak like this. Yeah. Shouldn't have called it Poltergeist commentary. You should have called it like Poltergeist occasionally and other shit the rest of the time. I got bored and turned it off. I'm like, thanks. You still felt the need to comment though. Cheers. Yeah. Appreciate that.
I was like, yeah. It was like you turned it off after half an hour, and I was like, oh, so you know
you stuck with it for half an hour though, mate, didn't you? It was so shit, but you killed fucking 30 minutes listening to it.
Also, it's like
who loses in that scenario?
Yeah. Also, as well, it's like you came to that conclusion within half an hour. Like, we could have spoke about the film for the rest of the time that you didn't actually listen to it.
I think we didn't. But...
No, we didn't. But yeah, even so.
But we should. We should talk more about Psycho because it's a really amazing, influential film. Yeah. And it's with a very rich history behind it.
It does.
You want to fire out some trivia, Gemma? That tends to be what you do on these things.
I do. The budget of the film was $806,947 estimated dollars.
I mean, that's a very, very specific figure. I would say you probably have that in front of you. You did not just pull that out of the air.
It cost $32 million.
Fucking hell. That's an obscene return. That's an obscene return.
I know. For some reason, I was about to say the million about, like, lemon grab. $32 million.
For a moment, before we return, I just want to mention, this is so creepy, isn't it? The whole tone of this film. It's really just so there's so much intrigue. I was just mentioning lemon crab. Like, I remember seeing. Obviously, it's terrible that this happened, and I'm glad that justice has been done. Some guy like raped his daughter or something really terrible, and he got sentenced to like 1,200 years. But all I could think of was like, who was the judge? Lemon crab.
Yes.
It's just like
1,000,000 years dungeon.
Like 1,200 years, like it's so excessive. Yes. Like there's literally no human being who has ever lived that long.
It's.
Anyway, more Psycho. Anyway.
Yeah. Apparently, Walt Disney refused to allow Alfred Hitchcock to film at Disneyland in the early '60s because Hitchcock had made that disgusting movie Psycho.
I'm glad you say disgusting because generally this was quite. Even though it shocked people. Sorry, I don't wish to speak with my mouth full. Even though it shocked people, and people ran out of the cinema and people fainted. My grandmother recalls somebody fainting in front of her at the cinema. At this. She had a similar experience at Frenzy, apparently, as well. Or, no, not Frenzy. She called it Frenzy, but I don't think it was Frenzy, because Frenzy was never actually completed, was it?
No, Frenzy was a film that was released.
What the hell film wasn't released? Oh, it's not important. Even though it was oh yeah, there was a different Frenzy that was never released. I think, and they was going to make it at one point and then made it later or some shit like that. Anyway, so people ran out of the cinema screaming at things, but critics liked it. You know, people liked the movie. It was a success and did wonders for Hitchcock's career. Now, the year before this, I think it was Michael Powell made Peeping Tom. Now he'd also made like Canterbury Tale and a couple of other movies, and like that I can't remember what it's called. The really big movie he made, something about something to do with the Middle East. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, it was something to do with fucking something the Afghan something or other. I don't know.
Right.
But it was some big movie that made him a lot of money, and then he did like Canterbury Tale, which I studied in college and I really liked. And then he did Peeping Tom, which was an excellent film.
Yes.
And this only came out the year before this, but it was in colour. And it was so grim and violent, in spite of how clever it was. And it was so kind of mean in the way it sort of indicted the audience, that the film was just pulled from theatres and critics hated it. Pretty much destroyed his career. And the following year, Hitchcock brings out a film that's just as kind of sinister. Yeah. And it does wonders for his career. Now, we've talked before when we were doing The Haunting, and we did Event Horizon as well, about location as character. The Bates Motel straight away is like a character in this movie. As soon as she arrives, there's the presence of the motel, you know. Yeah. You can almost feel the mother, you know. It's this something very wrong with it. And Hitchcock's great at that.
Yeah, he is. Oh, I love this film. Well, no, I've remembered the stupid thing that someone said in class. This was when I was in year 10.
Is this better than mine?
I'm just gonna say this.
Okay.
Right. Do you think people in other like here, like when they speak their own language, do they hear it in English in their head?
I'm sorry. Just stick my fingers in my nose for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's working. Click, click. My name is Jacob. It is Wednesday. The Prime Minister is Theresa May. No, everything's fine with me. It must be Gemma. What?
That basically this person said that was like, see when
people speak their native language that isn't English, do they hear it in English in their head? What a fucking retard.
Yes.
Are you sure you didn't go to a special school?
No.
In which case I feel bad for making fun of this person.
No, this person... Yep, this was a person that was doing languages.
Look at it! What a genius! Straight on the screen, bam, your eyes are just on him.
Yeah.
So anyway, talking about Ed Gein, and the kind of like... There's a lot of things about Ed Gein that are fascinating. One was that he was a very kind of unassuming kind of guy. Total creep. Massive mother issues again, which comes into play here. But people he was quiet. People liked him, and you absolutely get that with Norman Bates. You know.
Yeah.
We're creeped out by him because you know we kind of
we know why.
We know the movie's called Psycho, and we know who Norman Bates is and everything. But you can believe that people wouldn't suspect him, and that they think he was harmless. Also, don't you think Andrew Garfield looks like him?
Yes. Yes. You see, if they were to do the bloody Bates Motel remake like thing that they did, they could have cast Andrew Garfield.
Right, I haven't seen the Hitchcock movie, because I know there's been a couple. There was a Toby Jones one that was apparently quite good, but there was also a much bigger budget one that starred Sir Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock, which to me is really bizarre casting, but I'm sure he's a great actor. I'm sure he pulls it off. But I don't know what that's about. But if that has anything to do with Psycho, I do wonder if Andrew Garfield played Anthony Perkins, because if not, that is a wasted opportunity, because he looks so much like him.
Anthony Hopkins, hold on. I'm just going to look him up.
But very few people have seen the film where Toby Jones plays Hitchcock.
Really?
And Toby Jones is an extraordinary actor.
He is.
And he gets overlooked a lot. He was in a film I really liked called Barbarian Sound Studio. It was a bit too surreal at times for me, in the sense that it's one of those movies that starts out like it's not going to be totally surreal and weird and then goes in that direction, which can be annoying upon first viewing of a film. Heck, even 2001, which is my favourite movie, I felt that way the first time I saw it. But
this was the actor that played him in the one with Anthony Hopkins.
He kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
James Darcy. He does kind of look like Anthony Perkins. I think Andrew Garfield more so, but perhaps Andrew Garfield's too big of a star. Mind you, I mean, fucking Anthony Hopkins and Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson, yeah. Toni Collette.
Toni Collette, who's been ruined for me forever because I used to have the biggest crush on Toni Collette, and then I dated a girl who looked just like her I was in secondary school in university, and doesn't do it for me anymore. Aww. Completely killed it. Probably it's good news for you because now I'm not going to run off with Toni Collette.
Yeah.
Which was totally a thing that could have happened.
Yeah. It's also got Helen Mirren in that film as well.
I like Helen Mirren a lot.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Helen Mirren was like? Obviously, you don't remember because like. But people at home like remember when Helen Mirren was young and couldn't keep her fucking clothes on in the movie.
Yeah, like Caligula.
just put some clothes on, woman. Nobody wants because like I've grown up with her being like my grandma, so like I can't watch her as a young lady.
No.
So I'm like, just put your fucking clothes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, Caligula sucks. That's a terrible movie. The only thing that's good about it is
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell is so good. It's like he doesn't know he's in a piece of shit, and he's just like. He's like putting this like incredible performance into this awful movie. I mean, even all this intrigue about like the stolen money and everything, and it's just like he's just going there to get killed.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she has to be missing, and it's going to be an event that she's run off to spark like an investigation and everything.
Yeah.
But
that house.
I do love the sort of argument with the mother and everything.
Yeah.
Now, because we can't hear it very loudly, I do wonder. I can't quite remember because it's been a while since I watched this. Does Anthony Perkins voice the mother in these scenes, or he's arguing with her? Because I know it's not his voice when it's in his head, but I wonder in the scenes where she can hear them arguing if it's him.
As far as I know, no.
That's a shame because that seemed like that would be a cool detail.
That would be.
Perhaps it'd be too obvious.
It's Virginia Gregg. Norma Bates.
Yeah, but I just wondered in the scenes where it's not the voice in his head, but it's just him shouting, because she can actually hear. I assume she can hear the mother because she's listening to the argument.
Yeah, well, there's lots of people voice her apparently.
Well, there've been numerous versions of the.
Oh, I remember her.
Did you ever see the sequels to Psycho? By the way.
I've seen Psycho 2.
Yeah, Psycho 2 was okay, wasn't it? It was a perfectly palatable movie.
It was a bit like... It wasn't
good, but whatever. Psycho 3, on the other hand, was just like... was worse than Bates Motel, I would say.
Yes. Well, the thing is, the thing about the Psycho... I didn't... It was the same kind of thing... It was the same kind of reason why I didn't
Psycho 2 had a cool poster.
It did.
With him with the keys.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't too fond of, like, Psycho 2... but I was there. It's the same with the Omen 2 and Omen 3. I mean, the Omen 3, the only good thing about that film is that it stars Sam Neill. I actually think
Omen 2 is a lot worse than people remember. I went back and watched Omen 2 not that long ago. It is a bad film.
Yeah?
Yeah. The final conflict's just funny because it's got Sam Neill in it. So everyone Sam Neill just did horror movies all the time.
Yeah. That was fun.
I still need to show you Possession. It's so good.
I know.
We'll watch that and fuck it, we'll watch the final conflict as well. Because we are going to do Nothing But Neil. We have to do it.
Yeah, it's Nothing But Neil in November.
Yeah. Neil-vember. That's so bad. No, actually. Do a bunch of Keanu Reeves movie. It's Keanu-vember.
Keanu-vember.
Please don't unsubscribe.
I would be happy to watch a bunch of just Keanu films.
It's Keanu-vember. Just start with like Bill and Ted. Go up to John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick.
Actually, we're banging. We should totally do that.
Yeah, we should do.
Not this year because fuck it. Like this has been hard enough. Like doing 31 horror movies for Halloween.
To be fair, we did Move House. Yeah, and that's
really put a damper on things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it actually wouldn't have been particularly difficult. But.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like. I mean, it was great that we moved house, but again, it wasn't so good for the commentaries.
By the way, how much nicer is our new house?
It is so much nicer.
Not as nice as the Bates Motel, which is creepy but cool.
Yes.
Can you think of other films that you I love this like the falsity thing. You can't like find the words. Just little subtleties in the performance. I don't know how much it was on paper and how much of it was Perkins and how much of it was in Hopkins. It was I was say Hopkins then.
Hitchcock.
So we're talking about Hopkins. Hitchcock's direction. But it's a great performance.
It is.
But yeah, other films with the way like the location feels like a character.
Oh, the house and the haunting.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about the haunting earlier. The haunting in Event Horizon 2, where you definitely get that vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally in Event Horizon, and in fact in the haunting, because they're alive, aren't they? The locations, they're physically, living things.
The Shining, the Overlook Hotel.
Yes. Oh, very much so. The Overlook Hotel definitely feels like it's like a living thing, doesn't it? Beautiful location too. I mean, where the hell they find that place, but it's amazing.
Colorado, apparently.
It's great.
Apparently, there's a place that actually exists, and it's an actual hotel or something like that. Totally should go there. One thing that I always forget is how young Anthony Perkins is really in this.
Yeah.
Because I always think of him as being quite, just your kind of usually mid-30s, probably kind of maybe early 40s. But he looks like he's a young man, like 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
I
part
know
of what makes him so creepy, though, isn't it? I'm assuming. Generally, people in that age group are harmless people who've never really done much, He's obviously running this for his sickly mother and things like that, or so you think. And, he just... Part of what makes him so unassuming is the sort of youthfulness.
Well, that's the thing is when I'm going back to Scream, I know it's a parody of kind of horror and an homage at the same time. As it was like the main the main antagonist really, ended up being Billy Loomis, the boyfriend. He quotes Norma Bates.
Loomis, named after Dr. Loomis from Halloween.
Yeah, and he quotes Norman Bates when he gets caught. This kind of feeling, and again, he's got that weird attachment with his mother as well. So it's definitely something that they brought from Psycho. Yeah, probably a big influence on that.
The thing with the mother thing, of course, they take that from Ed Gein. But other movies have used other parts of that very interesting and deranged figure. Obviously, in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they're focused on more kind of the almost creative use of body parts and the cannibalism and that kind of stuff. And I suppose Buffalo Bill's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I love that owl, by the way.
It's creepy.
I think it's an owl. It's too hard. It's out of focus.
It looks like an owl.
Owls are creepy as shit anyway. If you don't think so, watch Twin Peaks.
Yep, Twin Peaks. Owls are not what they seem.
Yeah, which were strangely absent from the film and replaced with electricity was kind of the presence throughout the film, wasn't it? Electric and kind of cables and things.
I did like that though.
No, it was cool, but I remember the absence of the owls was very noticeable. Yeah.
Well, considering how much they play up the owls in the TV show anyway.
Yeah, we should do. We'll get back to Psycho in a second, but just do Twin Peaks. We should get a friend who's never seen it. We'll probably have to get a new friend because fucking everyone's seen it.
I know a lot of people haven't seen it.
But alright, get a mate who's never seen it, but who's quite comfortable with talking.
Okay.
Not being on camera. And just do somebody else kind of did this, but their channel was really small and they didn't really get any views. So we could totally steal their idea.
Yeah.
Do a vlog of every single episode. So watch it and then react to it straight afterwards.
Yeah, that sounds like a great
idea. So either
idea.
film their reaction while it's happening, like they do with Game of Thrones, or finish the episode and then put the camera on them and say, "What did you think of that episode?"
Sounds like a good idea. Well, I'm gonna go for some. Apparently, the score was written by Bernard Herrmann, who we know.
Yeah.
But apparently Alfred Hitchcock was so pleased with the score, he doubled the composer's salary to $34,500 because he said 33% of the effect of Psycho was due to the music, which is quite true. Some of it is very, the music is very effective in this film.
Yeah, well, I don't do a lot of filmmaking myself. I mostly write and act. I've done a little bit of directing, of course. I can't imagine ever being in a position where I could increase somebody's salary for any reason other than to stop them leaving.
That will be a bit of an amusing anecdote here. Apparently on set, Alfred Hitchcock would always refer to Anthony Perkins as Master Bates.
That's really childish.
I know.
You can't imagine Alfred Hitchcock doing that, can you?
Master Bates.
It's just like you just laughed in a fucking generic Alfred Hitchcock impression. Like didn't even laugh normally, just Master Bates. It's very, very good, Alfred. It means a wank.
Oof.
The mood whiplash in this scene is so good. This is when you really realise like something's not right with this guy, and he does it so subtly, you know, just slips into it. Brilliant line. Brilliant line read as well. You know, an actor, you know, has to be able to read the line well. It doesn't matter how good the dialogue is on paper. A bad actor is not going to nail the line ever. That line, she just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. I remember when it was delivered by Vince Vaughn. It's just dreadful.
He's sweating away, just going, we all go a little mad sometimes.
Yeah. I'm like, it's like the most overacted thing you've ever seen. And he just kills any kind of tension.
Yeah.
And it's made worse by the fact that he's, you know, he's trying to step into the shoes of Anthony Perkins. It just makes it so much worse. But even if this version didn't exist, that line would have, if the only version was the Gus Van Sant version, that line would not be memorable. No. You wouldn't remember that as being a really creepy moment. He's just like a creep, isn't he? The Vince Vaughn version. He's just kind of like you say, sweaty and like grinning, and he's like, you know, it's like honestly, it's like student film acting. It's the kind of acting you get from people who are still learning to act. It's like he's trying. It's a movie star should not be acting like that.
It's like he's trying to channel Anthony Perkins, but he's channeling Peter Lorre instead.
It's just awful. Like,
I mean,
I said insult to Peter Lorre.
I know, but you know what kind of thing I'm doing is like
What have you done?
I just it was a hard bit of pepper.
Do you think maybe wine was a good idea? Maybe coffee would have been a better idea. The coffee pot's on. We'll have coffee in between films.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, this wine is very good.
Another thing, like I'm pretty sure, does this in the Vince Vaughn Gus Van Sant version, doesn't he start jacking it here? That's a great shot.
I think so.
Yeah, it's just sometimes less is more, you know. It's
like you don't need to like
you have to
drum it in.
Yeah, labour the fucking point. He's doing something creepy.
Yeah.
It's not any more creepy if he's jacking it, really. Yeah. You know, he's still peeping.
As if he's just trying to hammer it home with like, you know,
like a sweaty hand on a dick.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's not. It's not a good movie.
Well, I don't know why it just came into my head, but like the whole kind of the hammer is my penis thing came from me for Dr. Horrible sing-along blog.
I really like Dr. Horrible sing-along blog.
It's good.
And look how fucking creepy the atmosphere is in this film. Like it's so the lighting and everything. Like I'm really incoherent because the problem is when we do a film that's too good, you just go on and on about how great it is, and it's hard to like make points about it. But it's like it's just excellent, isn't it?
It really is, though.
I quite like to recommend actually a show to people who are listening at the moment. A YouTube show called The Remaker. It's just the word. It's just that and then remake, but with an R at the end. And what he does is his videos are really in depth, but he just compares original films to their remakes and sort of breaks apart the differences and what works in one and what works in the other, and overall chooses which one's better and things. I personally think it's a lot better than a more popular show, which is the Nostalgia Critics Old versus New. I think it's much better. It's much more informative.
I was just thinking that, to be honest. I was going to mention that.
Yeah, but he's done a few. He's done RoboCop, and I think he's done The Thing. I don't know if he's done this. He's done quite a few, but it escapes me which ones he's done off the top of my head. But I remember he did RoboCop. I remember watching that one. And The Time Machine.
That's the thing, is one thing I got mad about in the Nostalgia Critics Old versus New is that he did Manhunter and Red Dragon and said that Red Dragon was better.
Red Dragon is objectively worse. Like, Red Dragon's a really mediocre, like, Hollywood movie.
It is.
It doesn't have any of the punch of Manhunter. Now, of course, this is the most famous sequence in the movie.
Yes.
I love how, like, Hitchcock could just make a shower shoot just squirting water at the camera seem really sinister.
Yeah.
The whole film just has a really, like, uneasy tone.
It does.
And again, there's another film we're going to be doing later on that does that even more. So, a more modern film, of course, it had the shoulders of this film to stand upon. That just, this is good, isn't it? The door comes open.
Yeah.
The idea that, like, there could be someone standing behind you like that, and you wouldn't necessarily see them because they're obscured by the darkness of the shower curtain and the steam and everything. I've heard some really interesting stories about this scene. People, it was so shocking at the time, and so suggestive that people believed they'd seen things they hadn't.
Yeah.
They believed they saw far more nudity and violence in the scene. People thought they really got a good look at, you know, her naked bits, but also they thought that they saw the knife penetrate her skin. People thought that the film turned colour for a moment and the blood was red. You know, all kinds of stories like that from people who just were so shocked that they imagined all sorts of things. Now, I was talking about a memory the other day. I'd remembered I saw a boy have an accident on the seafront when I was a child, and he got in quite a lot of trouble and he could have drowned. But I remembered it so much more horrific than it actually was, because, you know, the human mind does that. But this film is so powerful that, yeah, it was so shocking that people imagined it even worse. People remembered it being even worse. And when I went back and watched it on sort of home video years and years later, when home video was invented, they swore that the film had been changed.
Really? Wow.
That's amazing. Like, down the plug hole and then onto the dead eyeball.
I still get goosebumps every time I watch this scene.
It's just an incredible achievement. The stillness of the corpse there. And it's not a still image, of course, because there is water dripping. You can see the neck moving there a little bit, but there is water dripping from the hair and everything, yet the eyes stay open for that long and everything without needing to blink, without watering it, with the exception of a slight movement of the neck that could still be occurring after death. I'm no biologist, you know, I don't really understand, but what looks to me like the actress breathing.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, is that she might not be completely dead yet. She might just be dying.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? It's very real, the violence in this film. It's sort of stylized in the way all Hitchcock films are, but there's no real fantasy element to the violence. It feels very very true, doesn't it? Like somebody's just, you know, murdered this love. You know, she's not lovely in terms of she's done some bad things, but, you know, she's broken the law and things like that. Yeah. She's a criminal, but she, you know, she's pretty and things like that, and she's, you know, she seemed to feel a little warm towards Norman, and it'd be kind of nice. But I do like that they set her up as a bit dodgy, so that you don't feel 100% bad for her, which is interesting. It's not like, and that's kind of a trope, isn't it? You know, like I'm not calling her the character a slut, but the sort of slutty girl normally gets killed and things like that.
Yeah.
And the sort of jock douchebag normally gets killed in these sort of teen movies.
Tropes are there for a reason.
But the death is so horrific, you absolutely don't root for him. Or, well, I mean, the first time you see it, some people, because he's dressed as the mother, they may think it's the mother doing it, of course. But you don't root for the killer in this movie.
Yeah,
you're still afraid for the victims.
Yeah,
it's really good in that sense, and you don't. It's a really nice combination, because normally when you're afraid for the victims, it's because the killer is absolutely deranged and terrible, like Leatherface. But in the case of Psycho, yeah, he is likable.
I'm just trying to think if there's any other, like, you know, like kind of antagonist or murderer character that is as likable as well.
Because you do wind up rooting for them if they're too likable.
Yeah,
I find you root for Not so much in the Brian Cox portrayal, but in the Anthony Hopkins portrayal of Hannibal Lecter, you wind up rooting for him.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You do, don't you?
Yeah.
But then again, Brian Cox just plays it way too clinically. Well, anyway,
Brian Cox
really
is
clinically
scary. Shit in that role. Like, and he's not in it much as well. Like,
no.
When I'm talking about like, Silence of the Lambs, I think Hopkins in that movie quite a lot. But in Manhunter, like Brian Cox isn't in the film very long. But when he is, he's such a creep.
And it's just like, would you leave me your home phone number?
He's so scary. Brian Cox is a great actor.
I think he's very underused.
I like the way he's putting like the sheet down, like the shower curtain. Like, you feel maybe this isn't the first time he's killed when you get this scene, you know, like, oh god. Of course, you're going to find out one way or another, later on in the movie. But at this point, you're like, kind of, is he had to dispose of a body before? Has Mother done this before?
Yeah. This is kind of funny. It's like the first American film ever to show a toilet flushing on screen.
It's amazing what they used to think was indecent, isn't it?
Yeah. And the amount of money that she stole was in the 40,000 in 1960 would be equivalent to approximately $315,000 by today's standards.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, stealing 40 grand is still quite crazy. I mean,
yeah.
So most like working class people don't make that a year. I think you wouldn't if you're working class make that a year, but you know what I mean. Like people, the kind of people we hang out with, like we don't really know people who, on the whole, who make that kind of money.
No.
We're talking British pounds sterling, not dollars, but
yeah,
it's still a lot of money to steal, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, pretty much.
So even by today's standards, that's quite a lot of money to steal.
Yeah. Well, what's one thing is that Paramount gave Hitchcock such.
Done.
Yeah,
look at him.
I know.
Like he's totally just like killed before, and
yeah.
By the way, has he killed his mother or did she just die? I don't remember.
I'm not too sure. It's been a while since I've seen this.
I think 'cause I've never read the book.
Me neither.
That's something we should do. We should read Psycho.
We should read Psycho.
It's like a book. We should get it on Amazon.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we've got our book collection all up now because
I just moved to a new place. There's some really cool stuff up there.
Yeah.
Right now, I can see Philip K. Dick and what else can I see? Bruce Campbell. Some of it's like too obscure for me to see it.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Thomas Harris, of course.
Anthony
some good
Burgess.
Stuff up there. George R. R. Martin.
Aldous Huxley. John Wyndham.
This is nice wine.
It really is.
I'm not much of a Merlot guy, but this is nice.
Yeah, this because I work at Tesco. I get
I'm just like
discount.
I'm just like 100% pinotage. Pinotage or death.
Pinotage or death. It's like cake or death.
Yeah. We gave our neighbour some of your birthday cake. We have cemented the friendship with the neighbour now.
Yes. It was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday for yesterday.
Yes.
I know I celebrate your birthday with you, but just for the benefit of the listener.
Yes.
Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you. What I was saying was apparently Paramount gave Hitchcock such a low budget for this film, and one thing that he actually really liked about it, and that but he wanted to stop doing the big budget type of films that he'd done before with quite well-known prolific actors. I mean, he used Cary Grant and stuff like that in previous films, like North by Northwest was the year before this. Another one of my favourite films.
North by Northwest, by the way.
Yeah, it's an amazing film, one of my favourites, and so they used a lot of more television actors in this, maybe a lot more unknowns at the time. I mean, obviously these names like Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins are quite prolific names now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Janet Leigh was at the time because that was kind of the big deal, wasn't it? Like, Janet Leigh. But even so, he worked with quite a low budget. But the thing is, you don't need a high budget to tell this story.
No, you don't. Apparently, the Bates house, even though it's moved from its original location, it still resides in Universal's lot.
That's cool. Yeah,
and it's a regular stop on the Universal Studios tram tour. It's been a shame, actually. The times that I've been at Universal Studios, the whole type of tram tour has been off. It's been out of.
I've never had a tour at a movie studio. I've been to Warner Brothers in Leavesden, but that was for work. I've never actually had a look around the tour. So now they do a tour there.
It'd be nice to do that one day.
But at one point they had the biggest active set in Europe at the time when they were filming there, and I was on that set and it was incredible, absolutely amazing. film sets, you know, some of these big budget ones, they're amazing what they can achieve. By the way, the constant chinging is, we haven't got a very big table, so like, and we've had dinner, so there's like wine glasses constantly clicking into fucking plates and things.
Yeah.
So do excuse that.
Do apologise.
If you're still listening, if you haven't sort of, because you got your headphones in, you're like, ah, fucking noise. Every Tim.
It's like although Norman Bates typecasted Anthony Perkins, he said he still would have taken the role even though he knew it would dog his career.
It is a fantastic role though. And there's nothing wrong with being known for one character if it's a great character, you know.
And Janet Leigh actually received threatening letters after the film's release detailing what they would like to do to her character. One was so grotesque that she passed on to the FBI.
Wow.
I mean,
her character's not even like, again, like we've put it, that she's kind of like dodgy, you know, but she's not even that bad, really.
Yeah.
She seems like kind of a bitch, like.
But I'm thinking more of these people were perverts, and the shower scene, you know. So I was like, oh, you know how some people are like.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, because you said the character you see rather than her, I assumed you meant like
Marion Crane, like
yeah,
basic. So.
And because you said threatening letters as well.
I thought, to me, I don't know. I went with.
That could mean a number of things. It's very vague, isn't it? It could mean violence, or it could mean, you know, like perverse things, or it could be both. It's got both kinds of letters. Actors do get filthy letters. I've seen some of the ones Bryan Cranston got. I remember he was reading one about like ever since I saw you in Breaking Bad, I've been having these erotic fantasies about having sex with Aaron Paul while you watch.
Oh God! Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, he read it out on TV. He just had it with him. He was just like, "This is my favourite one I ever got." He was reading it on television. It's just really disgusting.
Yeah. Like to ensure that the people were in the theatres at the start of the film rather than walking
creepy,
in
isn't it?
part.
Sorry to interrupt. The car is sort of going out. Like
that is creepy.
And just watching it sort of with bated breath, you know, with Norman bated breath.
Norman.
Smash that sad react.
So it's like to ensure that people were in the theatres at the start of the film rather than walking in partway through. The studio provided a record to play in the foyer. The foyer.
The foyer.
No, I said foyer. The foyer of the theatres. The album featured background music, occasionally interrupted by a voice saying 10 minutes to psycho time, 5 minutes to psycho time, and so on. I mean, that's really.
Is that creepy or just funny?
I can't tell if that.
I'd have to have been there to know.
I was like, Loomis. Maybe that's where
oh my God,
from.
Loomis comes from here.
Yeah.
Good Lord. That's just blown my monkey mind. Clearly I am unworthy to do these commentaries with my limited knowledge of the history of horror. Somebody else will have to take over. You can do the rest with Toby.
I really don't want to.
Fucking hell, love. There's no need for that, is there?
Please leave.
That was my Toby impression. But it's very similar to my Jason Statham impression. Because he is a right old geezer.
What I think about that whole 10 minutes of psycho time thing, it just kind of reminds me of a jump scare warning.
Yeah. Like
a trigger warning. 10 minutes to psycho time.
You must be doing that in the movie, like, okay, jump scare coming up now. Boom, there it is, we made it. Is everyone okay? That is the future, by the way. That's where we're headed.
It'll just be like, you know how
when Tumblr finally wins the war against common sense, basically they will be putting like jump scare warnings in horror movies. Is everyone all right? Okay, we hand out the teddy bears and the milk bottles. Yes. Our adults are really becoming infantilized. I keep seeing fucking people in their late 20s boating around on fucking skateboards. I'm just like, what are you doing? Stop! That's a children's toy. And fucking dude, people with like bright green hair and shit in their 30s. I'm like, grow up.
Yes.
Anyway, that's my little rant there.
Well, just imagine like it'd be like going to a film, like you know how when you go into cinemas and sometimes there's a showing for the blind where they have the
It's more like a telling for the blind.
Yeah, telling for the. So there's just like it's like Garfield walks into the room. And
what Garfield?
I don't know.
We're watching Psycho for one thing. I presume you're going to make a point at some point about the correlation between what we're talking about and these audio descriptions. Garfield walks into the room.
I don't know, it just came to me.
If there was like a John Malkovich door into your mind, I would never walk through it.
Never?
Never.
Not at all, ever?
Only if I was trying to find out if you were having an affair. But other than that, I wouldn't use it.
Okay. I'm not. So, no, just, and that type of audio description, but except it being in an actual film where people, are able to see and hear, and just be like, okay, coming up, there is a sex scene in 3, 2, 1. Right, there we go. The sex scene's happening. Is everyone alright? Okay, that's fine. Okay, there's really skinny people in this film, so just, if you've got some sort of thin phobia, look away now. Just that kind of thing.
That's the grim reality of our future, isn't it?
Yep.
This guy's like the best death in the movie, by the way.
He does. So apparently Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh were allowed to improvise their roles a little bit. So, for example, Norman's habit of munching on candy corn was made up by Anthony Perkins.
There's a little thing that, again, here he is with it again, but it just sort of infantilises him slightly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of kooky and strange, but also like it's just eating like a type of sweet. It just makes him seem, again, quite harmless.
I found out recently why candy corn is called candy corn.
Why?
Because when you
we don't have candy corn in the UK, by the way.
Because when you build it up together, it looks like a corn on the cob. Yeah. Found that out.
Tried candy corn somebody had imported once. I didn't care for it.
It's not brilliant. Used to like when
they quite like to have it at Halloween over there, don't they?
Oh. Like whenever I used to be whenever I've been in America, in Florida, like in a Halloween time, because I used to go there from around my birthday sometimes. Like if a couple of years ago I was back there and went around the parks, and you were handed you went to like different bits of the parks, and you got handed and you got handed sweets, so like you got Tootsie Rolls and like candy corn, and like because there was a trick or treat thing happening, and you kept, so every bit of the park you went to you got different sweet. So Logan was having the time of his life. But you got candy corn, Tootsie Rolls, and mini Milky Way bars, which are Mars bars over there, and Three Musketeers bars, which are Milky Ways.
Three Musketeers?
Yeah.
What's wrong with those people?
I know.
Milky Way, that's what it's called.
Yeah, but their Milky Ways are Mars bars.
Just have a Mars bar.
Yeah, but their Mars bars are something different.
It's mental.
I know.
What is this nonsense you're on about?
Yeah, Three Musketeers bar is like...
You got any candy for me? Just a bunch of nonsense words.
I know. And Hershey's is a terrible chocolate.
Hershey's is awful.
Cadbury's or Nestle. Bitch.
Cadbury's isn't even that good anymore. Cadbury's got bought out by like Crafts, I think they're called, and it sucks now.
Oh yeah. I haven't had Cadbury's in ages, but I usually, because my favourite...
Galaxy still smashes it though.
Galaxy, yeah.
I do really like the neon sign. Something just about the words. This was no vacancy, and it's just bright. It's just creepy. Again, it's the black and white. I think it just really works. The lighting in this film, it's really unique. Straight away, you're watching Psycho. You're walking in any scene in this movie, you're watching Psycho. Practically any frame from this movie could be used in like a magazine or in an article discussing the film. If you write an essay on Psycho, you could use all kinds of different images from the film. And straight away, they'd be indicative of the tone. That's how brilliant it is.
Yeah. I said, in order to implicate viewers as fellow voyeurs, Alfred Hitchcock used a 50mm lens on his 35mm camera. This gives the closest approximation to the human vision. In the scenes where Norman is spying on Marion, this effect is felt. Because it feels like it's a bit like the Peeping Tom thing. It kind of implicates you.
But again, like he did a similar thing to Peeping Tom, and yet he was absolutely praised for it. And poor Michael Powell was pretty much shat upon. One review of Peeping Tom said that the film ought to be flushed down the toilet and destroyed in the sewer or something like that.
Oh.
Really vile stuff.
It's an amazing film.
Peeping Tom is excellent. We should do Peeping Tom next year.
Yes, we should. Shocktober 2, The Shockening.
Shock harder.
The Quickening.
Shock harder just sounds like some kind of weird electro fetish movie.
Like Shock Treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shock Treatment's alright, isn't it?
Yeah, it's alright.
People shit on it for not being a Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So by the way, because we did an episode on Rocky Horror Picture Show, haven't watched the remake yet, but saw a couple of the performances and of the songs. Like listened to the songs and saw the the video portion. Garbage.
Absolute horseshit, isn't it?
Yeah, awful.
No.
The worst of the bunch is the guy who plays Eddie.
Really,
Without a shadow of a doubt.
I was thinking more the guy who plays Brad.
Oh, he can't act at all. His acting is abysmal.
I suppose, yeah.
But in terms of the actual song,
Hot
Patootie, or what I always call it whenever I have to say that. I know it's not the name, but that's the name I always had on my old tape of it. Just dreadful. Completely does not nail the character at all. The introduction of Frankenfurter, he's just got a weird mask on, and he's just kind of there, and I'm like, no, it doesn't have any of that power.
No, it doesn't.
So I know it's irrelevant, but I thought bring it up because we watched those scenes recently, and we did a Shocktober on Rocky Horror Picture Show, and the chain of thought.
As part of a publicity campaign prior to the release of the film, Alfred Hitchcock said, "It has been rumoured that Psycho is so terrifying that it will scare some people speechless. Some of my men hopefully sent their wives to a screening. The women emerged badly shaken, but still vigorously vocal." I love how much of a sense of humour he had. I mean, the whole Master Bates thing.
Master Bates. I felt creeped out. Everyone immediately becomes when they look up at the house as well.
Yeah, it is a creepy house though. Yeah, it's been re-rated as well over the years, from PG to PG-13 to 15. Imagine this film in a PG though. Could you? I wouldn't show.
A lot of films get changed though. I mean,
I know that 2001.
Yeah, fucking hell, right? We were talking about this the other day. The 2001 thing. It's like, it went from a U to a 12, and Jaws went from PG to a 12, and things like that. Some of them they go down, like Tim Hanks went from 18 to a 15, and it seems they reclassify them every time a new video format comes out. Imagine if that was your job. HD DVD and Blu-ray are replacing DVD. Time to watch every film ever made again. Alright, I was really looking forward to watching Daddy Daycare another time.
It's like, damn it, I've got to watch this. I'm going to watch Psycho, and then I'm going to watch the fucking remake.
It's going to be a long night. Right, okay. Somebody put the coffee pot on and get me train pulling into a station, please. We'll do these in order. How does that even work?
Just...
It's a shame, because that's the best bit we've done in ages. Nobody watches Shocktober. I should have saved that for Bad Creepypasta. I can sneak that into Bad Creepypasta probably and still get away with it.
And then someone will comment, but
hey, what did
hardcore Shocktober supporter.
You do that bit in Shocktober, shut up, you dickhead.
Yeah, chinky.
Yeah, chinky.
Let's just hope that person isn't Asian, to be honest.
Racist.
I know.
It's the most racist thing you've ever said.
I know, but I was just thinking
because you said chinky.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone doesn't get, that's a reference to a YouTube video called "You're a Wizard, Harry," which is really funny. It's totally juvenile and stupid, But if you're the kind of person who laughs at the name Master Bates, you'll probably laugh at You're a Wizard, Harry.
Master Bates. This was voted the 7th scariest film of all time by Entertainment Weekly. Yep.
It is very scary.
It is.
Well, people may have noticed, the more sort of astute listeners may have noticed the films have sort of been getting scarier as we've gone along. So we obviously find this quite scary.
Yeah. I mean, we did start off with like Evil Dead and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for the most part, like,
yeah,
they kind of build up, don't they?
Yeah.
That's something I think it'd be good to do for this series if we do it again next year. Is to try and build them up into like better and better, more intense movies. Mm-hmm. So that on Halloween people can watch a really scary movie and listen to us talk about it and have a laugh.
Yeah.
As if they're just hanging out with their friends. That's the point of this show, basically. It's for invalids who haven't got any mates.
Yeah.
People who live alone and they just need some voices when they put a film on.
Yeah. We're your friends, people.
What we've done is we've taken essentially a very, very harmless concept and just made it really sinister and depressing.
Yep.
But hey ho, it's Halloween.
Yeah. It's strange and unusual.
Speaking of strange and unusual, enjoyed Beetlejuice again last night. Bloody good film.
Yeah. Showed it to Logan.
It's Logan is the 6-year-old boy who lives with us.
Yes.
We stole him from a carnival. He was an exceptionally tall 6-year-old boy. It wasn't a great carnival, to be honest. Like the freaks were all really mundane. Like there was exceptionally tall 6-year-old boy was one of them. Obviously, we stole him.
Yeah.
There was also the very, very pale, not quite albino white guy.
And there was the ginger parade.
Yeah, that was gross. Do you know what I saw the other day? I saw a woman who I believe was from Japan, with the dark hair and everything, but she had freckles.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of the most exotic things I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of freckles.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, and she was pretty, and you don't see pretty girls with freckles. Normally, a girl with freckles is like, oh, get the fuck away from me. And she was pretty as well.
That's cool.
Alright, another thing actually, because this was voted the 7th scariest film of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't do it because I want sort of the films we're going to do to be something of a surprise day by day.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of been the point of the show from the beginning. We've spoiled some here and there, but I'd like people, if they can in the comments, to name 6 scarier films than this. So 6 films you think are scarier.
Mm-hmm. Don't
have to be in order, but 6 films you think are scarier than Psycho.
That's a good idea.
Also, as well, if they write ones we've never heard of, it's a very easy way for us to see really scary movies.
Yes. I'm going to try and look up the list.
Do you know what film we're not doing this year? And we totally should have, but we're morons, we didn't think about it. The fucking Babadook.
We should have done the Babadook. It's on Netflix as well.
I know.
We have to buy it.
Yeah, we'll do the Babadook next year. I just let people know we're not doing the Babadook, and we should have.
I'm just trying to look. I'm just having a wee look at the scariest films of all time, just when it comes up, and I'm just going to.
It's the same one that has.
I think so. Yeah. So apparently.
Okay. Number 1. So we can say what are on this list, though, can't we? Because it doesn't mean whether or not we're going to read them or not. So go to number 7. Should we talk about this scene first? Mm-hmm. Do you have any idea how this was shot? Because I actually don't. There's a really interesting moment where he actually is killed coming up. Mm-hmm. I'm not entirely certain how it was done.
Wow.
It's a really interesting shot. Mm-hmm. Some kind of like a slider or some kind of steady cam. I don't know. It looks really cool anyway. So yeah, shall we read the films that were apparently scarier than Psycho?
Yeah.
So we'll scroll down to where Psycho's number 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get up to it. If it comes up, sort by. Wait, come on.
What's this shit? You had like a proper one a minute ago. What did you leave?
Right. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So and let's see if we think that's scarier than Psycho. So.
Well, it says it's 8 here.
Oh, the 8th. Okay, so name 7 films that are scarier than fucking Psycho then, if you still haven't written them down yet.
Okay.
Okay, so these are all films that are scarier than Psycho. We'll see if they are. Okay. Halloween. Not necessarily. The Ring, as in the fucking remake? Eat a dick. The remake's terrible. Jaws. I think Jaws is scary. I don't know if it's scarier than Psycho. Silence of the Lambs, again, really... Actually, there are scenes in Silence of the Lambs that are scarier than Psycho.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'd say, is probably equal. The Exorcist, I think, is probably scarier than Psycho.
The Shining's the number 1.
And number 1 is The Shining. Yeah, The Shining, I think, is probably scarier.
I can't believe they've got The Ring on there.
Yeah,
the remake.
But the original's really scary and like dreamy and weird and like I was looking at the boxes that we have it in our DVD collection. We're unpacking our DVDs the other day. And I was reading some of the quotes just on the box, and I was like, yeah. Like, see it if you dare was one from the News of the World, and another was, makes the Blair Witch Project look like a stroll in the woods. I don't remember what magazine that was from, but they just kept like, it will terrify you and things like that. And I'm just like, and it's brilliant. And then the remake came out, and the remake was super famous and was totally terrible.
It was.
That's another one they should do on the remaker. They should do both versions of The Ring.
I'm just having a look at the ones that are apparently not as scary as Psycho.
I guess the 9th scariest film ever made according to this list is 7.
There's some really scary moments in 7, but I don't think it's a scary film.
Yeah, it's it's influential though, isn't it? Rosemary's Baby is an interesting film.
Yeah. Poltergeist.
I think Poltergeist is scary than this.
It is scary. Yeah. 28 Days Later. I don't think...
See, we've done 20 Days Later, like we did it fairly early on. Like it's scary. I think 20 Days Later was like the first actually really scary movie we did on SHOCKTOBER.
Yeah.
Again, Nightmare on Elm Street, we've done that on SHOCKTOBER. The same with The Thing, again, we've done that.
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Carrie.
I like Carrie a lot, but I don't think it's scary.
No.
Night of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The Omen. I think The Omen's really overrated, to be honest.
I like it.
I like it, and certainly better than the sequels. I don't even know what the fuck that is that you're looking at there. Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. I actually never saw that.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't seen that. I'm trying to think if that's the Howling, or
American Wolf in London. Maybe.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well.
I don't think anybody listened to our American Wolf in London commentary. I got like no listens, that one. It's obviously not as famous a movie as I thought it was.
No. But then again,
at least not with our audience.
Well, it's also as well, Hellraiser's got no comments on it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And Hellraiser's a classic.
Unless, again, Hellraiser is maybe more popular in Britain.
Well, it is a British film, I suppose.
Yeah.
Same with like The Wicker Man as well. These are like classic British horror films.
Someone apparently doesn't know what the hell we're on about in The Wicker Man, or doesn't know what the hell we're doing.
I don't understand people like that. Like, I don't mean to insult anyone in the audience, obviously, but we say at the beginning of every single episode, we introduce the movie and we say, sync it up with your own copy in 3, 2, 1, play.
Yeah.
What about that is difficult? Because there are always people, there's always somebody on every comment that goes, wait, what am I supposed to do?
Uh-huh.
Like, what? What is... Again, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but what is actually wrong with you?
Yeah.
You got a listening problem of some kind?
I was just like, I don't know what they're doing. It's like, we're doing commentaries.
It's in the title.
Yes.
I don't know. Again, the first time I saw this, I was really interested in like the investigation portion of it. I'm like, okay, now the private investigator's gone missing and people are freaking out. Mm-hmm. And like how, obviously, you know, the net is sort of tightening around Norman Bates at this point.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of intrigue in the movie. I like the community know this guy, and they don't even think for a second he has anything to do with it.
No.
And again, it's just like, it's like young Norman. He's a bit strange, leave him be. Mm-hmm. He's a decent lad, Mm-hmm. And I like that about it again because you don't always know who the psychos are. I think one of the things that makes this film so scary for the time is that it isn't Dracula, it isn't Frankenstein's monster.
It's a person, it's a human being.
Yeah. It's a guy that you could believe it. It's a guy who runs a hotel. Mm-hmm. You know, he's just a pretty ordinary guy, kind of lonely, that you might meet. You meet people like that when you go and stay in little hotels and bed and breakfasts and things like that, motels. You meet those kind of guys. Quite often the owners of B&Bs when I've been travelling have been quite eccentric and a little strange. Mm-hmm. And you can't help but think about Norma Bates.
Yeah.
You can't help but wonder, am I going to get murdered?
Yeah.
I guess that's the potency of this film, isn't it? It's such a part of public consciousness. I mean, the shower scene that was on earlier has been parodied a million times. The Simpsons obviously did it with Maggie and him cracking him on the head with the hammer, him grabbing the curtain and the paint falling down and the eyeball.
This is the part, obviously, where you find out that the mother is actually dead. Has been dead for 10 years.
Yeah. It's so mundane as well, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Ah, there we go. I had forgotten how she died, but poison apparently. But that's so vague, isn't it? Did she take her own life intentionally, or was it Norman? Or did Norman go crazy after she took her own life? Mm-hmm. You know, questions like that I think are probably answered in the sequels, but they're not good. The second one's an adequate little movie, but the third one is just, I mean, fucking hell. You know, it's such a. Sometimes the third one is with a film. It's, I think number 3 in a series can be make or break. You know.
Yes, I can agree with that.
You know, I mean, Poltergeist 3 was the final nail in the coffin.
Yes.
Yeah, there was never going to be a Poltergeist 4.
I mean, even the little girl died.
Yeah.
After that film,
I'm not saying. Are you saying like the film gave her an incurable disease?
Well, there's a whole curse surrounding Poltergeist, and the same with like.
We talked about that on the Poltergeist country. I'm not getting that again, but.
The Exorcist. I'm just saying the Exorcist 3. I really like.
Yeah, Exorcist 3 is much better than Exorcist 2.
Yeah.
Partly because Exorcist 3 has Brad Dourif in, who is such an underrated actor.
Rip and cut and mutilate the innocent.
I actually really like Brad Dourif.
Same.
Then, yeah, sort of mainstream audiences will know him from
Lord of the Rings.
I was actually going to say One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but also Lord of the Rings.
I was thinking more mainstream than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Didn't that win Best Picture?
I know, but some people but then again, we are living in the years of the millennials, and they're like, it's a black and white film. Of course, I'm not going to watch it.
I mean, I can't even tell if it's day or night in this movie.
How many people saying are insane? I don't know. The colour is making it difficult.
There's no colour cues for me to know who the bad guy is. Like, have you not like tripped over your own feet and fallen down the stairs to your death? Like fucking morons. But anyway, yeah, Brad Dourif though done a lot of interesting performances.
He's also Chucky.
Yeah, Chucky is what he's famous for in horror circles, of course. Mm-hmm. He was also in Alien Resurrection.
Yes.
And Exorcist 3.
He was a really good part of Alien Resurrection.
Oh, he was far and away. Him and the practical special effects.
Yeah.
Now, while I'm not a fan of the actual design of the sort of alien baby hybrid thing, you can't deny that the animatronic effects in that film are excellent.
They are.
And Brad Dourif is brilliant because he always is a great actor.
Yes. Very underused.
He's so overlooked, isn't he?
Yeah. There's a film I've seen him in. He's only in the first 10 minutes of the film. Not even, maybe 5 minutes. It's a really not so very good slasher film from the 90s. It's called Urban Legend.
Oh, I know the film. I've never seen it, but I always saw it in Blockbuster, you know, and I never bothered picking it up because it didn't look like my cup of tea.
Also stars Jared Leto.
Oh my god, what a bad actor. He's so famous, and I've never understood why. Because his music sucks. And he's a really bland, like, uncharismatic, unlikable, arrogant-seeming actor. Mm-hmm. I think, why is he such a big star?
I don't know, because he's attractive, apparently.
Is he, though? Like,
my mum likes him.
I think he looks like a girl. I think maybe your mum's a lesbian.
No. No, anyway, yeah, he's in that film, and he's he's a really interesting part of it, to be honest. It's, you know how, like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer kind of restarted the slasher craze of the 90s. It's like, it's an it's a late 1990s film, but it's also got Robert Englund in it, who's pretty good. I mean, we could put it on for a laugh. Yeah,
so. We probably will at some point. Like, I'm trying to think of before, I mean, again, there's not much to talk about right now. You guys know the movie, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of more examples of like actors who are really overlooked. One is Eric Roberts.
Yes.
And a really beautiful story, actually. Sorry, I should drop the T so it can be somebody who wears a giant T-shirt and whose favourite film is The Shawshank Redemption. We're having this conversation earlier. People whose favourite movie... Now, Shawshank Redemption is a good movie. People whose favourite film of all time is The Shawshank Redemption are always like slim guys who wear shirts that are too big for them, who go to music festivals, like Oasis, and never pronounce the T's in words. So they're like, it's a beautiful film. The Shawshank Redemption is a beautiful film.
Beautiful.
It's the best film ever made. Shawshank Redemption, right?
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Im Robbins. Anyway, I forgot what I was on about now. Eric Roberts, right? There's a beautiful story about Eric Roberts. Robbers.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Cops and Robbers. Right? Anyway, Mickey Rourke was accepting an award. I don't know which one. Some award for, I think it was The Wrestler.
Okay.
And Eric Roberts was in the audience. And he just talked about Eric Roberts.
Really?
He just went up there and he said, there's a lot of young directors in this room, a lot of you like young filmmakers that are just making it now, and you're really big, and you turn into actors like me who've had our day, and it's really great, and I'm really grateful. And the one guy who really needs a chance, and he's one of the best actors in the world, is Eric Roberts. And I'm being serious. Some of you guys listen to me now, put Eric Roberts in your movies. And Eric Roberts is like sitting there, and he's like, you can tell he's like really emotional, but he's just like trying to laugh it off, and he just shouts to him, he's like, just accept your award. But it's really sweet. Like,
aww.
So I think we just Google that, like, after you listen to this, if you want to see something really cute, just Google like Mickey Rourke Award Eric Roberts or something like that. You should be able to find it.
Yeah.
But it's a really sweet clip.
Mm-hmm.
He was picking up like a Golden Globe or something. He was just like, for presumably for The Wrestler, because he was talking about like directors like getting these like old has-been actors in and giving them real, jobs to work on, really great roles. And obviously that's what The Wrestler was for him.
I'm trying to think which the last film I actually saw Mickey Rourke in, and that was Stormbreaker.
I didn't see Stormbreaker.
I used to read the books.
That film I saw him in probably was
The Wrestler.
Probably was The Wrestler.
I haven't seen The Wrestler.
In my opinion, it's not as good as its reputation.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I mean, it doesn't mean that it doesn't necessarily mean it isn't.
I seen The Fighter when it came out, because I actually went to see a lot of films around Oscar season in 2010, 2011. So I saw like The Fighter and I saw The King's Speech and stuff.
I really like The King's Speech.
The King's Speech is good.
I'm not a big fan of like Oscar bait movies, and The Fighter always seemed like Oscar bait to me.
It was good. I will say it was good. It wasn't brilliant. I don't think it deserved the Oscars it won. But no, The King's Speech really spoke to me. I cried during it only because I've suffered from a stutter since I was little, and it really kind of struck a chord with me.
Yeah, it's a good movie, The King's Speech. I think it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Colin Firth. People come around to THs as well.
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth is in this beautiful film called The King's Speech.
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush.
Helena Bonham Carter.
I see Carter. Helena Bonham Carter. I gotta say, I really like Jeffrey Rush. Have you ever seen a film called Shine?
Yes.
Oh fucking hell, what a great performance.
Mm-hmm.
There's again, just to quickly talk about Psycho again. While there's not much happening, you're creeped out because you know what Norma Bates is capable of, and it's like these people are investigating and stuff, and you're frightened all the time.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
It's one of those films just really unnerving. You never feel like you're safe.
Yeah, it's not really a horror film, and yet it is frightening, isn't it? In a very kind of primal way.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned earlier about Jaws. I mean, Jaws isn't a horror film, but again, it has that same atmosphere of being scary throughout.
Mm-hmm.
It taps into something, a fear you didn't know you had. Oh, no, you don't, love. You do not want Mrs. Bates to tell you anything. You want to leave and never return.
You want to go home now?
Yeah, you want to get in your car and think, this has already gone too far, I'll hand this over to the police.
Mm-hmm. Should have left well enough alone.
Yeah, should have left well alone, and now you're crapping out Norman Bates' feces. Because you should have left well alone.
Yeah.
I had a funny. It's quite a famous bit of trivia. I had a funny anecdote about the mother when that scene comes up. I actually had a loud crash. It was probably our neighbours. I'm just going to go and check it out. Why don't you regale the audience with some tale or other?
A tale?
I don't know.
The tale of two brothers. No. I will regale us with ideas and talk about the movie. Okay, like... it's most the film is very visual. A lot of it comes from looking at it, which you're hopefully doing. It's okay, well, Alfred Hitchcock and John L. Russell regularly used two cameras to get most of the shots in Psycho, rather than get resetting to get different angles, and a common practice for television but rare for feature films. Now, we spoke about something like a multi-camera setup in like the thing of it in films like 28 Days Later, which when it has a lot of cameras on one, it's very like a television studio that way.
Yeah, little man's fine. He's just watching Power Rangers the movie on VHS
again.
Yeah, he's just rewinding it and playing it again. He's such an accidental 90s kid. Literally through no design, we just showed him some like films and stuff, and he loves like Men in Black and Power Rangers,
Independence
Day. He's into some modern stuff as well. Like he likes the new Godzilla movie and things. But yeah, he's got a VCR in his room. But literally because we were unpacking the house and I had this old, because I used it for Darkland. I had a TV with a VCR combi in it, and I was like, I'll put that in Logan's room. Give him a couple of VHS tapes, and yeah, so he's now got a VCR in his room. And
he's got the Star Wars trilogy up there as well.
He's got the 1990s special editions with the really crude like CG in them.
He's gonna live in the 90s forever.
We're talking earlier about fake memories and like the people remembering the blood in this film being red.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered like another one. People who swear that C-3PO never had a silver leg. Even though he's always had a fucking silver leg. People are like, oh, they put it in the special editions. No, they didn't. I've seen like every cut of Star Wars. Like, I've seen versions of it when it isn't even called A New Hope, and it's just called Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
He's always had a silver leg. People are really weird about that.
I was while you were away, I was telling the audience that they used a multi-camera setup again for this.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
It wasn't somewhat as sophisticated as the multi-camera setup in 28 Days Later.
Well, no, so it was digital and shit. It was in the 2000s.
Yeah, but like it was two cameras on at once.
Yeah.
So, like,
I did that on Abyssus, and it's really time saving in editing.
Yeah. But
it's really fucking time consuming on the set because you have to make sure the light is consistent between two shots.
Yeah.
Which is hard as balls. But it's really time saving in the editing. You'll notice Abyssus, even though it's an incomplete film and has scenes missing, in terms of the scenes that are complete, it's some of my best edited work because there's loads of match cuts and things between shots because there's two cameras on. Nice. So I can use the same take.
Well, that's good.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be contented here. I'm just doubting that you are. I think if you saw a chance to get out from under, you'd unload this place. This place happens to be my only world.
Yeah, it features 77 different camera angles and 50 cuts.
My mother and I were more than happy.
Hitchcock's such a master. I mean, like, even just a shot of somebody walking into a room, it's so tense.
It is. But yeah, again,
like the long takes and things like that, and the knowing what to use as cutaways and things. Every shot's meaningful. And we talked about this earlier about how every shot is indicative of the tone, but also every shot's meaningful. It either builds tension or tells you a little bit of something about the character. You know, there's no wasted shots. You watch something by Michael Bay, there's so many shots that they don't need.
No.
They're just there to like, oh, let's just break up the pace, just boom, 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 and keep cutting because the audience have all got ADHD.
Yeah.
You know, Hitchcock's a true master.
As again, he's master of suspense, and he always will be. Just saying, like, I'm kind of glad we got the DVD version of this film, because the Blu-ray is edited.
Really?
It's missing a shot from the shower undressing scene and lingering close-up of bloody hands and additional thrust to the knife for the killing inside the house. But despite that, the Blu-ray is rated R.
Why on earth did they remove scenes from the Blu-ray?
I've got no idea, but apparently it's an edited version of the film that they used in the Blu-ray.
That's fucking tragic.
I know. I'm really glad that we.
If I'd known that at the time, before we started, I would have said make sure you sync it with the DVD and not the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because there may be some discrepancies in the length if they've cut shots out.
Yeah.
That is dumb.
We can write that in the
description.
In description.
Oh, we haven't talked that much about the actual shots that are on the screen and things, so we probably should be alright. But that's shocking that they would do that.
Mhm. And that's kind of, I mean, usually the Blu-ray, like, usually when you get the Blu-ray, they usually kind of have they're usually on the uncut versions. They're the ones that probably, I mean, because you're spending more money for a more superior product, really, because it's meant to be a nicer shot. Whereas in this, you're paying more for less of a film. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, actually, I did that same thing though with Independence Day. Obviously not in the same league as Psycho, but I have the DVD and the Blu-ray of Independence Day. My DVD is the special edition. That's the director's cut with all the extra scenes in it. The Blu-ray is the standard theatrical cut, and there's no options for any other version on the Blu-ray.
Really?
But the special edition does exist as a Blu-ray. I just didn't know that at the time, so I just purchased the theatrical. Okay, now here it comes. One of the big moments of the movie. This is just as famous as the shower scene in its own right. It's just so unnatural looking, isn't it? The teeth are all perfectly preserved, but none of the teeth are falling out. But yeah, apparently, I can't remember the actress's name in this scene.
Vera Miles.
Thank you. Apparently, Hitchcock had a bunch of different dummies made, and he would keep putting them in her dressing room. It was either hers or Janet Leigh's, but in one of the actress's dressing rooms.
I think it was Vera Miles.
It'd probably be Vera Miles because she's the one who had to scream. And he kept putting it in her dressing room, and he would measure which scream was loudest. He wouldn't tell her it was in there, so she'd come in and see a corpse in the dressing room. Not every time, so she wouldn't expect it. Every once in a while, he'd just put a dummy of a corpse in there. And the one that was the one that got the biggest scream. So she was like, well, that's the scariest dummy, we'll use that one. What a dick!
I know! I mean, not as much as a dick as, like, other directors.
Yeah.
Like, in, you
like
know,
Kubrick with Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
But I mean, still. Norma Bates no longer exists. He only half existed to begin with.
I love this bit, sorry. I'm gonna be quiet now.
I'm happy to talk for a little while until we get to the scene where you actually see Norman.
That's fine.
Well, now look, if you're trying to lay some psychiatric groundwork for some sort of treatise someone would like to call this, the psychiatrist doesn't lay the groundwork. He merely tries to explain it.
But my sister is.
Yes, I'm sorry. The private investigator, too. If you drag that swamp somewhere in the vicinity of the motel, you'll... Have you any unsolved missing persons cases on your books? Yes, 2. Yeah, yes. He confessed to, like I said, the mother. Now, to understand it the way I understood it, hearing it from the mother, that is...
I like that this part, you realise that like he's sat there in there and spoken to the mother like through Norman, and that's so creepy to me. But you don't see it happen.
Yeah.
You know, it happened off screen. that he probably sat there and spoke with like the mother's voice and stuff. But you don't see it happen.
For years, the two of them lived as if there was no one else in the world. Then she met a man.
That's why there's absolutely no reason for the prequel TV show, because you get everything you need in this scene.
Yeah. Yeah, he did kill them.
Yeah.
I'm getting the.
You can tell it's been a while since you saw it, haven't you? Because they're probably like diehard fans of the film who are like, "Oh, come on, guys!" Like, who know all the like famous stuff from it, like the Loomis thing, and like, "Oh, come on," you know. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but.
A weighted coffin was buried. He hid the body in the fruit cellar. Even treated it to keep it as well as it would keep. And that still wasn't enough. She was there. But she was a corpse.
I think the choice of fruit cellar in Evil Dead 2 rather than just cellar was probably a homage to this as well. Because they only ever call it the cellar, I think, in the first movie. They both used the word fruit cellar a couple of times in the sequel, which probably is a homage to this. I'm reaching a little bit. It's such a classic film. It wouldn't surprise me if there's little tiny references. Especially it's the mother, isn't it?
Do you think?
That's buried. It's the mother of one of the main characters that's buried down there in Evil Dead 2.
Do you think? Do you think as well, like, say Resident Evil, right? How the bit with the
I know who you mean. Yeah,
like the bit with the thing turned.
The wife of the one who
Yeah.
Because the daughter wears the mother's face, doesn't she? Stuff like that. I think any of these kind of things with heavy sort of mother implications are either influenced by this or influenced by Ed Gein. I know that you're playing Shadow Man for the first time at the moment. There's a character who's very influenced by Ed Gein in that. Especially when you read all the sort of background literature that comes with it.
Covered up all traces of the crime he was convinced his mother had committed. Why was he dressed like that? Transvestite. Not exactly. A man who dresses in women's clothing in order to achieve a sexual change or satisfaction is a transvestite. But in Norman's case,
Hear that?
Just triggered. There's a typo. There was a typo in the subtitles. Reality came too close. They put too close, as in T-O, rather than T-O-O. Typo in the goddamn subtitles of an officially released movie from Paramount. That is unacceptable.
Yeah. Unacceptable.
Bimmy and Jimmy? Bimmy isn't even a name.
I'm so sorry, but I've got like goosebumps, and I'm very on edge.
Too busy enjoying the movie to talk
Yes,
about.
I'm sorry. I really am.
I think next year we should do some crap.
We really need to do crap. No, but it's just this bit. It's just the fact that it's so real as well.
Yeah, just because it's clinical, isn't it? They're just talking about it. Like, this guy's a psychologist. It's his job. He deals with like crazy people all the time. But we've got to know this character. You know, we see him as a human being, and it's all very scary and unsettling.
And it's just the fact is,
It
it's
comes
like,
up with the blanket and everything, and it's a great ending, isn't it?
yes.
I love how huge that set is. It's so like impractically large.
Yeah.
It's obviously a set, but it just. There's a great moment as well where the mother says "she" when referring to herself. Like Norman's like thinking about himself as his mother. Is she's so harmless she wouldn't even harm a fly, and it just reminds you that he really, in that moment, is the mother. There is no Norman at the moment, and that's very creepy.
I've got shivers all going up me.
Just in case they do suspect me. They're probably watching me. Well, let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even going to swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see, and they'll know.
Look at that face.
She wouldn't even harm it.
There it is. The she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Oh god.
And I like that they quickly do a cross dissolve, and hidden in the cross dissolve, you can see it really clearly on the DVD, much more so than the VHS, which I grew up watching. You can see the skull of the dead mother, just before they crossed, during that cross dissolve.
Yep, I saw
There's
that.
a hidden image within the cross dissolve of the dead mother
Mm-hmm.
on the face. Absolutely brilliant. So that was Psycho, a true masterpiece of suspense and and of horror as well. It's very even though it's not a horror film, it is very frightening.
It is.
I really loved watching it again. First time I've seen it in a few years. Once again, a brilliant film. Gemma, closing thoughts on Psycho.
That ending affects me all the time. Every single time I watch it. Again, it's rare that a film will do that to me.
You get goosebumps every time.
Yeah, like if you cry every time.
Alright, so thanks for listening to Psycho. Sorry we've been away and haven't been able to keep up the 31 days, but we will still release 31 episodes.
Yes.
We'll just record a block of them. So thank you for checking it out, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for another horror movie. Until then, stay spoopy. Like
Bye-bye.
a skeleton.
Yep.
Instead of Rayquaza.
Bye.